Welcome to the TLC Unleashed show, Hollywood Vibes, Sports and Life with your host, Traci Lynn. This show is brought to you by Quest Nutrition. Cheat clean and make healthy eating fun with Quest Nutrition products. Hey guys, welcome to the TLC Unleashed show, Hollywood Vibes, Sports and Life, live in the studio today. I didn't know if we were gonna make it. It's been a interesting week, but I have this magical man beside me that his spirit. I mean, you are just oozing with loveliness, so I love it. Rodney Allen Rippey, welcome to the show.
It's an honor to be here. How you doing?
I am fantastic. We were just talking about the good old days of you and Jack in the Box, but we're going to talk about your life, how it all transpired, and what you're doing today.
Sure.
So 3.5 years old, you became a little superstar.
Well,
Literally.
Well, I just started out as this little kid growing up in Long Beach. I was just my family wasn't from the entertainment industry. It was just one afternoon I was sitting down and I was watching the Little Rascals. And
I read that.
And I'm sitting there cracking up laughing, and my mom's washing dishes, and she comes in, and so she's like, "What's so funny?" And I point at the TV, and she's like, "Oh, you're laughing at Buckwheat." And I'm like, "Yep." And my mom's like, "What? You think you could do that?" I'm like, I'm thinking back on this whole thing. I saw myself actually as Buckwheat.
Wow.
I thought I was Buckwheat, and so my mom said, "Well, you wouldn't be afraid of all those cameras and the lights and everything?" I'm like, "No." And the reason why I said no, I was like, Buckwheat's not afraid. Why am I going to be afraid?
Because you're like, I am Buckwheat.
Honestly, because I am Buckwheat. So that was my logic. And so believe it or not, my mom goes over to the Yellow Pages.
Yeah.
In 1972, and she starts flipping through. And there used to be talent agents in the Yellow Pages and managers. And before you know it, my mom made a few phone calls, and then she had us hooked up with this guy on Sunset, right in the heart of Hollywood.
Okay.
And the guy was a fast talker. My mom, we went up to meet him, and he's like, "Oh, yeah, he's cute. I'll sign him." And my mom's like, "Well, wait a minute. He has a brother and sister."
Yeah.
"Well, if they're anything like him, I'll take him too." My mom's like, "Well, don't you want to meet him?" "Nah. Well, I don't need to meet him." And my mom, it started off, my mom says, "Well, what is this going to cost?" He's like, $500. And my mom's like, "Wow." And the guy's like, "I love him." And my mom said, "Well, if you like him, you should meet his brother and sister." And he goes, $1,500. I mean, it was just like, just right out the gate. And, my mom being green and everything like that, it just turned out that we entered into this thing, but it turned out to be kind of like a scam, so to speak.
Okay.
And so mom was a little heartbroken, and so we ended up getting some good information, and of course we found out about Screen Actors Guild and SAG and SAG regulated agents. And before you know it, my mom was like, "Who's SAG?" And before it all happened, we ended up getting hooked up with a nice agent, Dorothy Deotis, out of here, out of Los Angeles. And she was at the time one of the big child agents. And it just happened that I got the call for the Jack in the Box commercial, my first audition, no acting classes, and I hit the biggest commercial campaign of my career.
Unbelievable. Well, you were destined to be this. I mean, this is who you are. Well, obviously, you have a lot of fans out there. And do you still practice? Do you still say it, the commercial? Do you still do it?
I do.
Because you're about to do it right now. So
oh, my God.
We might as well. I mean, we got to start the show off with a bang, right?
Yeah. Well, people always remember the actual commercial. If you go on YouTube,
I saw it,
and you type in my name, Rodney Allen Rippey, and you put Jumbo Jack, you'll actually see my audition. That was the very first commercial.
Natural.
They turned the audition into the first commercial. They said it just went perfect, and they kept it, and the rest was history. So,
all right, so let's hear it.
Well, the guy says, when I walked in and I sat down, the guy asked me my name. He goes, "What's your name?" And I said, "Rodney." "Rodney what?" "Rodney Allen Rippey." He goes, "What's that in front of you?" I said, "The Jumbo Jack from Jack in the Box." And he said, "Do you think you could get a bite out of it?" And I said, "It's too big to eat." And he said, "Well, pick it up and take a bite." And I was like, being a kid, I'm thinking, I'm going to take a huge bite. So I take this huge bite, and he says, "Tell me how you like it." And the last thing that my mom had told me before I went in, she goes, "Don't talk with your mouth full." And I said to the guy, I can't talk, my mouth's full. And he just died laughing. And so that was it. He sent me out. And my mom was standing right outside the door. So when I opened the door, my mom sees him roll off the couch, literally onto the floor, laughing. And my mom was like, oh, my God, my baby. They laughed him out of here. Let's go.
Oh, no. She's thinking it's opposite.
Oh, yeah. My mom thought I just completely.
She didn't know.
Yeah, she did. She thought I bombed. And so we get home, and my mom seems so worried, But it turned out, later that afternoon, about an hour and a half, my agent calls, and she's like, hey, they love him. Take him back tomorrow. He's got a call back. My mom goes, they laughed him out of the place.
Yeah.
She goes, whatever he did, they love him. Take him back.
Yeah.
So my mom takes me back, and I go in. It was 100 kids nearby for this audition.
Wow.
And they cut the field to 50. I went in number 1, and they closed casting. That was it. They didn't even continue casting. They closed it.
It was a one and done. They're like,
one and
this
done.
Is the one.
It was a home run. It was a home run deal, and so.
It's just like right out of the gates, 3.5 years old. You're a little baby.
Yeah.
I mean, not that you aren't still, but you were so cute. I mean, I was watching these. I watched it over and over and over today, and it was just like so adorable. So, did your brothers and sisters ever get involved?
Well, what happened was my brother and sisters, they were all signed up. My mom got us all signed up. My sister, Beverly Lee, my brother, Kenneth Wayne, and my sister, she did a commercial for Banquet's Fried Chicken, the little frozen chicken. And my brother, he had gotten a call for the old Coca-Cola commercial. I like to teach the world to sing perfect. Yeah. And so then I got my call for Jack in the Box and nailed it. And so my mom sat us all down. After my first commercial, my mom said, how do you guys like it? Oh, this is great. All of you, Beverly, you got one. Kenneth, you were close. Rodney, you got Jack in the Box. This is great. How do you like it? And my brother and sister looked at each other and they go, Mom, we don't like it. And my mom's like, why? This is great. Why not? And they're like, Mom, the makeup and the people and lights, we don't like it. Let Rodney do it. And so my mom looks at me at 3.5 years old and she says, okay, Rodney, I know you don't want to do this because your brother and sister don't. So just tell me now, I'll wrap it up. This whole thing will be over. And I said, no, I'm having a good time. And my mom said, are you sure?
Yeah.
And I said, yeah. And she goes, okay, I'll keep taking you to the auditions, but this is your choice. Yeah. At 3.5 years old, my mom loved me enough to just let me make my own decision.
I love that. I love that you just stated that because we find this in society, as a parent, you want to love your children and you want to support them and guide them in the right direction. And, your heart's there and right. Usually, mean with your heart and direct with your heart. But sometimes, as parents, they make, different or poor decisions sometimes.
True.
And do, the things that they suggest that we do the things that they want us to do.
Right.
And, go to school or be a doctor or be this or be, and acting, obviously, their family wasn't in the entertainment business.
Nope.
To give you that option and that ability to be free of, freedom at 3 years old. Wow.
Yeah. And that's the type of loving, sensible type of parents that I had. My mom, I called her a home technician. So, because she ruled the house like her kingdom. And Dad worked, and believe it or not, in the height of my career, my dad was a trash man. My dad, when I hit the Jack in the Box commercial, he actually was a trash man for the city of Long Beach and retired from the city. Yeah. And a lot of people have these stories of, I feel so bad for people who had terrible times in the industry. And I just had a blast. I had a blast from day one and still having a blast. And I meet people and people reflect, and a lot of times I meet people and they'll go, oh, you're Rodney. And I'll go, hey, where were you in 72? And they go, wow, 72. Man, that was a good time. And people, I just let them go down memory lane and have their moment. And it's just great. Just last weekend I was at the Hollywood show. It was a big autograph signing. Yeah. And
Mr. Dan Kennedy was there.
Brother Dan Kennedy, one of the greatest photographers in LA.
Yes, I agree. Absolutely.
And, on all the red carpets, cool guy. He always gives me great shots too. So
I know, Dansman.
That's it. But just being there and all my life, I just enjoy meeting people and networking and I've been working behind the scenes, with different people on different projects, and that's what it's all about.
Did you take acting classes?
You know what? I did. I've taken acting classes, but I was under the study of several different people, and there was a lady that I had studied under for a while, and she said, Rodney, I'm going to tell you honestly. She goes, it's something about you that you're kind of unnatural. She said, but just play it realistic. When you go out on an audition or whatever you got to do, just play it realistic, like you're talking to one of your friends.
Yeah.
And I've never forgot that. And so when I go after a project, I really try to make that character come alive. I really want to embellish that character. So whatever it is, be it comedy, dramatic, whatever, I roll with it.
Yeah. Is that what you tell other people? Because, again, a lot of actors or actresses are out there and, I haven't auditioned for a lot of roles. I've been lucky enough to just get roles for my look.
There you go.
So very fortunate, yes. And so I'm very grateful for that and very blessed.
Go. Yeah.
But I hear the stories of a lot of people doing the auditions, and you have to really get thick skin because you can't take it personal getting out there. And
their jobs I wish I could have landed. I actually went out on an audition, and the character name, the script, the guy's name was Rodney, the role. And I was like, it's got to be me. It's got to be me.
Yeah.
I said, I can't, and I love the character, and it just, you just have to say, hey, you can't get them. You go in, you lay down an audition, and if you don't get it, sayonara. Keep trucking. There's more. No
Keep
big
pushing.
deal.
We talked a little bit about when you first sat down today, and I love it because he's got a great attitude and a great philosophy, and it's one that I live by as well. So we were talking about a situation when my car broke down on Saturday, and I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to the pool. I'm going to relax. I'm going to, work on my tan and stuff.
Yeah.
And, you said something too, and I want you to share that with us.
Oh, well, I was saying in life throws you curveballs. Things are not always constant.
Yeah.
And sometimes when things go really wrong, when something happens or whatever, sometimes you just got to go, you take a deep breath and you go, I'm gonna go make a milkshake and just and let it go. And taking control of your emotion, your blood pressure, your feelings, because we never are in control of anything. Life is constantly a roller coaster. Right. You might as well just buckle up and ride. There are gonna be good days, bad days, but I hope and pray that the bad days are few for everyone,
Absolutely.
But that's what keeps life colorful. If life was always just peachy keen, it's just like lifting weights. You seem like you're in great shape.
Thank you.
You're never going to get strong unless you press.
Yeah.
Unless you lift, you got to lift weights, man, in order to get strong. And so life is sometimes a weight. That's what gives you the endurance to move on. Yeah,
it's a great attitude and great philosophy because, again, we can't control anything. We can control our emotions and how we react to things or if we react to things.
True.
So what have been some of your biggest obstacles for you in your life, in your career?
I'll tell you, I think probably one of the biggest obstacles was losing my mom. I lost my mom when I was 18. Sorry. I was a senior in high school. She was like my rock. She was like, especially when I went out on these auditions, my mom was there. She was on the set. She wasn't a stage mother. My mom was my eyes and ears. So she would come up to me in between camera changes or something. And at the time, because I had this gigantic afro, my mom would be working on my fro. And it literally was a wonderful thing because she was like an architect when it came down to my fro. And so they were like,
I love it.
Don't book a stylist for Mr. Rippey. His mom will do his hair. No one can do his hair like Miss Rippey. And my mom was like, oh, I do it all the time. And believe it or not, the funny thing was she would come over in between takes and she comes over and she's picking my fro and getting my fro all straight. And she'd whisper things in my ear and she'd say, you're doing a great job. Just, stay focused. You're doing good. Give me a kiss on the cheek. Walk off set. That was it.
Yeah.
And so she was my eyes and ears. Actually, I was shooting a commercial one time, and it was me and a bunch of other kids, which I'm not naming anybody, and I'm not even naming a product. And we're on this commercial, and there was this one kid that was just, he was one of those actors that, or one of those kids that just was rambunctious, and the director said, okay, everybody, I want everything. And this one kid was like, I don't want to do that. He goes, no, I really need you to do this. I don't want to do that. I want to say such and such. He's like, no, I really need you to say this. And finally, the kid was like, no, I don't want to. And boy, that director was so hot. You see his ears turning red, blood rushing up his neck. And he's like, okay, kid, we're going to do it your way. And he turns around to the crew and he's like, take it from the top. And everybody was like,
it's like, whoa.
Good. And so in between takes, my mom comes over there and she's picking my fro. And my mom says, Rodney, do not even stand next to that boy. They hate him. I was like, really, Mom? She goes, do not even stand near him. Do you hear me? I was like, really, Mom? I'm like, really? She goes, they hate him. My mom said, because the director was like, after the take, he walked over and told some people, he goes, don't you ever book that kid ever again on anything. My mom was just standing there in earshot, so she came over and entertainment is a business. And so I took it very seriously. At the age of 3.5, my mom said, Rodney, you have a job. You are working. She goes, you see all these people standing around, you see all these lights and these cameras? She goes, Rodney, it costs a lot of money for this stuff to go on. She goes, baby, I don't want you to worry about nothing but your line. She goes, you do your part. That's all you got to worry about. And she kissed me on the cheek and walked off. And so she gave me those kind of things. And I was like, yeah. And, my mom, I was a child, but yet I was mature enough to understand this was serious business. It was serious business, serious opportunity, and there were big things going on. So I never took it for granted till this very day. I don't take people who I meet that it meant something to them. It means a lot to me as well.
Aww. Well, I'm very sorry for your loss. Your mom sounded like just an amazing woman.
But I will say this: she gave me enough to carry me the entire rest of my life,
Yeah, I was going to say that. It sounds like from 18 on, you still had the voice of your mom and obviously her presence always near you and by you.
Yep.
And so remembering those little words of wisdom and it's the same thing with me with my mom. My mom passed 6 years ago and, I hear every time there's a struggle. It's like, that little voice and it's just okay, keep trucking forward, keep moving forward.
You have to.
Always. So I want to talk a little bit about, a lot of the childhood stars. We hear a lot of tragedies and there's some that struggle with different mental health issues or addictions, things like that. What helped you stay on track besides the support of your mom?
Honestly, it was just having a well-rounded family. A lot of times in families, currently, you look around and homes are very dysfunctional.
Yes.
And though, it's a tough time. Times have changed. A lot of times both parents are working and children are kind of left to fend for themselves in many cases. And society has kind of fast forwarded things. Kids nowadays, if you talk to a small child or an adolescent, they've had so much experience in things that they have like leapfrogged childhood and the internet and so many other things. And I'm not a prude by any stretch, but the reality of it is, what kept me balanced is just having a good family support system. Matter of fact, after my brother and sister got out of the industry, whenever me and my mom were traveling all over the United States, whenever I told my agent, and my mom would tell anybody, if you give Rodney anything, give him 3. Because he's taking 2 back for his brother and sister. So whenever I would come back in town, I had this thing, and they were like, what'd you get? I'm like, check this out. And they'd be like, oh, wow. So whatever I got, they got. So there was never any type of jealousy. There was never any type of competition. And I feel so bad that, you see these things in families that communication. I'm big on communication. Yeah. I really try to be. And it's just, having a great family, having a God-centered family. And the funny thing was, my family, we didn't go to church every single Sunday.
Yeah.
But there was always this awareness that there was something bigger and greater than us. And my mom was always like, hey, Rodney, you know, don't embarrass us. I'm like, I'm not doing anything. She goes, good. I just thought I'd tell you. And I was like, dang.
Just in case.
Yeah, just in case your wheels start slipping. Don't let us down, because a lot of people are counting on you. I was like, and that was the real truth. At an early age, I always knew that there were people counting on me. And so, and I was like, wow, you know, and it's a very sobering thought. So that, and it kind of keeps you on track, because you're like, well, heck, I mean, I can fall off the wheels, but I'm gonna mess a lot of people up in the process and embarrass my folks, embarrass myself.
Yeah.
And I'm not one for embarrassment. I hate feeling stupid and looking stupid. So I try to avoid as much as I can, as far as the snafus of life, you know.
So would you say that, you know, watching a lot of these tragedies with the childhood actors and celebrities, do you think that it has a lot to do, you know, because not everybody has dysfunctional families or broken families and things like that. Do you think it had a lot to do with maybe growing up too quick and getting into this fame and a lot of money and certain situations?
It can. It could very well be, you know. And again, you just have to, as a person, you have to understand that, you know, what this opportunity is. When you're in the entertainment industry, be it music, dance, whatever it is, art, you're a small population in the world, and there are a lot of people who appreciate your craft. And so you have to always think that, you know, am I going to let these people down? These people are counting on me. They spend their money, they go to see my movies, you know, and I was at a time when Hollywood was just kind of budding. You know, it was just starting to grow. The money was just starting to kind of start pointing in the right direction. And now it's like you can walk into Hollywood and sneeze and make $1 million, literally. And I'm like, hey,
I want that.
Brother's still available, you know. and I'm like, but it's not about the money. It's about the fun. I mean, the people. Unless you've been, well, because like I said, I started the industry when I was a kid, and I know what it feels like to, it was never like I felt like I had fame, I had friends. I always felt like, man, all these people, they really enjoy this crazy stuff that I'm doing. So I had a blast, and if they laughed, and if they wanted an autograph, I would give them an autograph, and I just enjoyed it. You know, it was never, and I knew it wasn't about me. It was really about them. It was about the audience and the project, and again, it was my folks and people who had my back, and I appreciate that.
I love it. I love the excitement, the enthusiasm with it. What has been your funnest project?
You know,
what have you enjoyed the most?
You know what
Dickie Roberts.
You know, with Dickie Roberts, with Adam Sandler and David Spade, that was a blast.
Yeah.
Actually working with George Burns on Oh God Book 2.
Yeah.
Because I knew, you know, I was like, that guy with the cigar, he's so famous. I mean, you just look, he was iconic. And when I was there, I was like, wow, he's huge, you know. And then between Mel Brooks with Blazing Saddles, and you see Harvey Korman and Cleavon Little and Gene Wilders and all these crazy people. And I was young, but I said, these people are huge, because I recognize them, you know. So, you know, working on these projects, and it's just I just cannot say enough how fortunate I felt, you know, all my life, just meeting people, and then you meet people and they go, man, I remember Blazing Saddles, my favorite movie, and you're in there, and people will come up and start quoting scenes, and I'm like, wow. I'm like, boy, you really do remember this stuff. I'm like,
some of the parts we don't even remember, and people are quoting us, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I love it. Who are some of your mentors in the industry, and some people that you may be starstruck with?
Wow. You know, mentors, you know, actually I just recently met director. Again, I met him a couple of times, but director Bill Duke.
Okay.
You know, people like that. Again, people like Adam Sandler. He's the new school, and
Love
he's funny,
him.
and he's crazy, and he's wild. And and Adam Sandler's the type of guy, he's enjoying what he's doing.
Oh yeah, he
It's
is
not-
amazing. I've loved him since a little girl.
Yeah, it's not like it doesn't seem like it's work for him. He's just having fun.
That's why, because it's close to what that's your same principle as well.
Yeah.
That's what I see.
Yeah. And so I look at, the greats that are out there, man. And I mean, I had the pleasure of working with Sammy Davis Jr.
Wow.
You
What
know,
was he
and-
like?
Pure entertainment. I mean, when you see him, I knew, I was like, that's the guy. He's from one of the Rat Pack. And I mean, I was like, and we did this dance number together, and it's just, I mean, but some of the people that, really inspire me, Quentin Tarantino. I met Quentin Tarantino a couple of times.
Yeah.
Would love to work with Quentin Tarantino.
What's he like off the set, like off of the job?
You know what? He's a ball of energy. He's just like, let me tell you
He's
something.
fired up.
And he's always so like fired up. And you could tell him like, man, it would be a hoot to be on a production with him, because I know he rocks, And so it's just, there's so many people that I would love to work with. I think Eddie Murphy's funny. David Chappelle. I love these guys. I mean, I just think that, great. I'm into the comedies. I'm into
Well, you
dramatics,
also do a little comedy yourself too. I
Yeah.
saw there, yeah. So,
yeah, life has been a comedy for me. I'm telling you, it really is.
So how do you turn from like acting and comedy? Is it kind of intertwined for you?
You do it all. That's when I meet people, and people that sometimes they'll start talking to me about their son or daughter or they're trying to usher them or point them in the direction, and their son and daughter might want to get involved. I said, let them do everything. I said, you have to be well-rounded when you get out and you start auditioning. They're subject to check you on telling a joke. Matter of fact, I walked into this real dramatic role, and I mean, I'm thinking dramatic. I mean, I got my head on this thing, and this guy says, tell me a joke. And I was like, excuse me? And I was like, so you better be ready. You don't know what these people are going to pull out.
Wow.
And so, those are the things. So you've got to be able to think on your feet, and it's always good for you to be able to just roll.
What are your rituals before you go into an audition?
Honestly, preparation. I like to get my script. I get my sides early. I like to really get into the character. I like to get as much information about that character. And then I'm like, I want to become this person. So I'm like digging around, and I get in the wardrobe. And sometimes I've literally went out and bought stuff.
Okay.
And
to really feel it.
Yeah, to really feel it. To really feel it. To really embody that role. And that's the reason why I'm looking forward to, as an adult, people remember me as a kid, and I'm looking forward to doing some adult roles and just letting it loose. I'm just ready to let it loose.
If you were to be on a set right now doing an audition, what joke would you tell me?
What joke would I tell you?
I never remember jokes. That is actually one of the worst things. So if you ask me a joke in there,
right.
I can't remember a joke for the life of me. I think I have like one joke. There
you go.
In my lifetime.
For some weird reason, I have more stories. I'm a more storyteller, and I always have one in the back of my head. It's like, why did chicken cross the road? Because he saw me standing on the corner and I look hungry,
I could use that one and get away with it.
You can. Yeah, you can.
I love it.
You can, hey, you
See,
can
I
use
can
it.
remember that. I think I'm good. I now have two in my toolbox.
There you go. You got to have something. You got to have something in your back pocket. You never know.
What's the transition like going from a childhood actor and being able to prove yourself as you grow, and more mature?
It's great, because growing up as, like I said, starting out in the industry, you meet people, and a lot of times, I watch movies and TV shows, and you just think in your head, I could see myself in there. I could see myself on that walk-in. I could walk in that role. I could walk into the scene and do blah, blah, blah. And sometimes, you have to, when you're in the industry, you start critiquing. And I try to turn my brain off when I go to the movie theater. I go, God, that would have been a great scene if blah, blah, blah. And I start directing in my head. I'm like, watch the movie, Rodney. You paid for this movie. As I'm eating my popcorn,
Do you do any directing yourself?
I've actually worked on a couple of projects. me and a colleague of mine, we put together a documentary called Rise and Shine. It's all about the arts and education.
Great.
And me and another dear friend, his name's Dan Pettigrew, we're working on cranking up the Teen Day radio broadcast. And it's actually a internet radio station for kids.
Great.
So kids around the world could literally talk and be connected and talk about the things that they think are important and are cool. And
I love that.
Yeah, so we got some pretty cool
When
things.
is that launching?
We're in the process. We've actually done multiple shows already where we have got the content together. We've had correspondence. We make these young people actual correspondence.
Great.
And then we air them on various radio partners.
I'd be curious to know what kind of topics and what conversations the kids would have.
You know what? Actually, we're working on something right now that I'm kind of like delving into. And we're working on something called Tea Time for teens.
Okay.
And, a lot of, and it's like a really cool project about getting kids aware of tea time and etiquette and all these other types of things. And again, there are certain people who are real connoisseurs of tea. And it takes, you got to study, you got to know this stuff, and so.
It's with anything, yeah. You have to do your homework.
Right. And it's letting kids have a social time. The mature social time and teaching young ladies how to be young ladies and young men how to be young men and the etiquette of love and respect and coolness and all that good stuff.
That's fantastic because that is definitely needed. Our society has slipped away from so many things and, and levels of respect and just, with all the technology.
Sure.
And we're losing that human touch and the human, kindness and just the old school, picking up the phone or things like that. I dislike talking on the phone. So when I say that, I kind of cringe, but it's needed to keep that balance for us. Yeah,
you have to communicate, and I think that, people are texting more. And, I was telling somebody, a friend of mine, I text something and they started accusing me of something. I go, this is a stupid cell phone. I'm like, these stupid emojis. I said, will you talk to me? I said, these things, you get lost in translation.
Yeah.
I was telling a friend of mine, I said, especially in relationships, you got to be very careful. When you start texting around and stuff, you might say something and it may really land wrong and it might hurt somebody's feelings. And it's a text.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you may not have meant that at all, but it just comes off that way.
Yeah, they say the fastest texter is a pissed off woman.
Yeah.
It's true. All of a sudden I can type like 6,500 words a minute.
Well, see, my motto is try not to make a woman mad. Period.
Nice. I like it. You guys got to take note of this.
I'm telling you, avoid it at all costs, man. I'm telling you, if you know a lady and you know what she likes and all of that, don't deviate from that. That's the craziest thing. It's a disaster.
Keep it simple, stupid principle.
Keep it simple, stupid, or you're going to have a disaster on your hands.
What were the things that you did to keep back so that, you didn't slip into the whole Hollywood scene?
Always being real with real people.
Yeah.
I'm that guy that, I would throw parties. I remember being in college, I used to throw just because parties.
Okay, what is a just because party?
Just because I want to. Just because I want my friends to come over. I want to have good food, music.
Love that.
And I used to say just because. They said, well, what's the party for? It's just because I want to have a party. And so I used to call people and say, hey, time for just because. Really? When? And I would cook and all my friends would come over. And I just enjoy people. I enjoyed them.
Nice.
And the jokes and the stories and things like that. And I used to take a bunch of pictures. I remember it was funny because I had a VHS camcorder. So I used
and the track.
Yeah, I used to have this big old VHS camcorder walk around the party. And they'd be like, Rodney, will you quit video? I'd be like, hey, man, so what's going on, And that's how old school it was. But, man, I tell you, that was before digital. But,
yeah,
but I enjoy, just being normal. I'm a type of guy that, honestly, I can walk on a red carpet tonight and tomorrow I'll be out changing oil on my car.
Nice.
No
I
big
love
thing.
It. You never slipped into that whole Hollywood.
Hollywood is, it's a fantasy land, and it's not real.
Yeah.
You can never, I don't care what character you are, I don't care how much money you're being paid, you are not that character. You don't become that character. You don't start thinking. My mom told me, she said, Rodney, enjoy yourself, but don't take this stuff seriously. She said, the moment that you start thinking that you're somebody, they're going to hate you and they will turn and walk away. And I was like, so I always knew, like, you know, and like I said, having worked at media outlets like Channel 7 here in Los Angeles, I've seen how the media will love you. Oh, my God, look at he's on the red carpet. Oh, my God, great movie. Hey, can I interview you? Blah, 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 blah. But, boy, let some trouble come. Like, wow, well, today, such and such and such and such. And, man, they'll love you one minute and they'll throw you under the bus the next. And I'm like, and you become a news story. And I'm just like, so to answer your question, I always don't want to be a news story.
Yes.
And don't get me wrong, I'm just as crazy and nutty as anybody else. But I say, Rodney, you can't do this.
Yeah.
You can't do this, or else. You know what the or else is, and I'm like, I don't want to know or else.
Exactly.
I don't want to, and so and that's the reason why I tip lightly, and I'm, you know, I don't take life for granted. I don't take people's feelings for granted.
Yeah.
And you got to be careful. Careful.
Yeah.
You know.
Absolutely. What have you been working on over the last couple of years?
Well, I've been working with a dear friend of mine on the Country Soul Music Awards, a dear friend of mine named Marvin Spruill. We've been working on putting together an award show. Okay. And it's going to be a big award show. And we want to honor people like Ronnie Millsap, Winona Judd, Darius Rucker, Lionel Richie, you know, Aaron Neville, the Pointer Sisters. These people are country soul singers. They've been miscategorized as quote-unquote country. They're country soul singers. And so we're working on, you know, whenever you have a big project, it's a lot of moving parts. It's a lot of things that you've got to get situated, and publicity and sponsorship and the broadcaster and all these different things. And so I'm working on that with my buddy. I'm also the spokesperson for an organization called Prime Motivation. And Prime Motivation is all about motivating kids to think about a career in vocational training. Not every child is going to go to college. They said 63% of all kids will never go to college, but they still need a career. Kids are not used to using their hands. I thank God that my dad was the guy that was a plumber, and he worked with wood, and he worked on our family car. And so I saw my dad rebuild cars in our driveway, and I was like, and it rubbed off on me. And so thank goodness I'm not only groovy, but brother can wrench a little bit.
I love it. Next time I'll call you instead of the mechanic.
There you go.
I wouldn't have an ordeal.
There you go. Hey, sometimes, and it's good for young ladies to know.
Yes.
You know, a little bit of something. And nowadays it's really crazy. There is this whole thing. If you talk to the average young person and you say, hey, you know, and they'll just say, you know, don't you want to drive? No, I'll just Uber. You're like, Uber? I'm like, you don't, you know, when you turned 16, you wanted to get your driver's license, you wanted your first car. And these kids nowadays are like, no, we'll just Uber.
It's changed so much.
And I'm like, Uber, what about your personal freedom? What about your own wheels? And you can take out your friends or go hang out or go where you want to. What about that? Well, you can do that with Uber. I'm just like, ugh.
I know, it got lost. Everything, so many things got lost, you know, in life, and it's just so crazy when I talk to kids too, you know, and they talk about careers and things like that. I had a girl that was gonna intern and be a personal assistant for me.
Sure.
She lasted a day and a half, and she literally was like, "I don't know how you do all this." I said, "Well, that's why you're here."
Right.
So, you know, and she went to school for marketing, and she was a really, really brilliant girl.
Yeah.
And she had so much talent ahead of her, and she was put in the right position, and I really wanted to put her in this position and really help her excel. And it was sad because she gave up before she got started.
Yeah.
And, you know, we see so much of that, you know, and she was 21 years old, and it was, you know, it's one decision away from a totally, completely different life.
Right. Well, people don't work. You know, I'm a worker. I'm the type of person that, honestly, I've worked jobs and I've worked in different positions. And I have to tell you, I work circles around people.
Yeah.
I work when other people are like, God, I'm exhausted. I'm not going to do that. I'm like, come on. You know, I mean, I'm that guy that when my buddies need to move, they call me.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, dude, if you're going to move, coordinate, dude. Do you have boxes? Do you have tape? Is this mess packed up? Is
You're
it
a manager.
you got to manage this stuff. When I moved one time, and when people walked in, the whole place was boxed up.
Yeah.
The boxes had double tape. They were labeled. Nice. And when you walk in, you lay your hands and say, "Oh, kitchen." Set it in the kitchen. Don't open it. Just set the box in the kitchen. We're good. We were done in like an hour and a half.
I've never stepped into a place like that. And that's the one thing I appreciate that about people, because they ask you to move. And that's my first question. What is it? Take a picture of what your living room looks like, in your bedroom and your bathroom, and then send it to me, and then I'll make a decision.
When I had a friend of mine that was moving, and I was so mad. I got there and he was putting crap in plastic bags, hefty bags. And I'm like, what are you doing? Oh, man, I'm just putting out. I'm like, you expect us to move? And the U-Haul was full of plastic bags, and everything was just this.
Wow.
And it just got stuff with. You can hear stuff breaking. You hear. And I'm like, is there glass in this plastic bag? Oh, yeah, man, there's glasses and cups. And I was like, how are you going to put in a black plastic bag, dude? And I was like, God almighty. I was like, chingling, chingling. Okay, come on, guys, chingling.
It's a plate with like a sweater and a pair of jeans.
Exactly. I'm like, whatever, dude.
You have to have the same type of work ethic and practice those principles in all your affairs.
Yeah.
And, and I say this to a lot of people that I work with. And, it's funny because I limped into the gym this morning. I pretty sure I broke my pinky toe yesterday. And I got up for work this morning and I was like, I don't think I'm going to be able to put a shoe on my foot. Oh. So I thought, okay, well, you can't wear flip-flops in the gym. Otherwise you get kicked out. Yep. And I kind of stand out. So I was like, okay, well, so I put this shoe on. It took me 13 minutes to put a shoe on. Oh. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to limp in there because that's what you do. You suit up and you show up no matter what.
Yeah.
And, and it's just it's having those principles in life so that you're successful in all areas.
But, listen, you're in good shape. A day off ain't going to kill you.
Yeah. Well, I was actually coaching other people, so
okay.
A day off for me is...
Well, put your foot up and coach,
Exactly.
Be like, hey, more weight on that guy over there.
And Can I get some ice over here?
There you go, exactly.
So you obviously are, very healthy and you look in great physical condition. So is exercise and nutrition a part of your life?
It is. I love I love to eat well. I'm a type of person that, I really enjoy cooking. You know, I enjoy fresh fruits and vegetables and things like that. And I'm a type of guy that I'm like, I'm thinking down the road. Yeah, I love,
Jack in the Box?
Yeah, well, I love Jack. Hey, when I'm on the run, if I got to get a burger, got to get a burger. But if I have a burger one day, I will not have red meat the next day. Yeah. I'll have a salad. I've actually steamed, a plate of spinach and filled up on spinach and go, I'm done,
Nice.
Spinach, mushrooms. I'm good.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
And how do you think that played a huge role in your life, being healthy with the fitness and the nutrition to be successful in your career?
You got to always think future tense. And I've been very fortunate to say, you got to eat well. And there are certain things that, like I said, I hate to say this, but it's a truth, and it's a bitter truth, but I'm going to just say it. I look at other people, and if it don't work for them, I'm not going down that road. That's the reason why I've never been no fan of drugs, because I look at drugs, I'm like, doggone it, it don't work. It didn't work. Look at all these people it didn't work for. Yeah. And you have to go, and at some point, I understand addiction. I do understand that once it has gripped you, that's a major problem. Mm-hmm. Don't start it. Don't start nothing that you cannot put down.
Yeah.
And that's, I think that's this, and I'm a huge advocate for prevention.
Yes.
And intervention. I think that, before it even gets started, think about it. Think about it. Consider all the pieces. And you start thinking about, you look at a pack of cigarettes and it says, this thing's going to cause cancer.
And kill you.
And kill you.
Yes.
Graveyard dead. And they're making billions of dollars off of people's misery. Absolutely. And I've been there. I've seen relatives die. I had an uncle who died. He died in the hospital. When they went to take him out, he had a pack of cigarettes under his pillow. And I said, that is ridiculous. Yeah. To take it down to the wire like that. It really pains me and it makes me sad because when I see people smoking and abusing themselves, you start thinking about, I'm like, man, it's God, you're gonna need that health. We all degenerate over time. And you're gonna need that health further down the road. When life, you're gonna need that extra oomph in your step.
Yeah, and it's so true. Once you get into that addiction and then the rhythm of it takes over and now you have no control. How did you adopt that philosophy of forward thinking?
I always was one that, when I was in high school, for an example, it was a funny thing. I was in high school and I was the same dude that I am right now in high school. I was crazy, funny. I'd talk about your mama. I whatever, I was that guy, and I'm having a blast with everybody, but they were like, they wanted more, and they were like, Rodney, man, we would love for you to smoke pot with us. And I was like, why? You're hilarious. I was like, yeah. And I'm like, I was like, I don't need no pot to talk about your mama. And everybody would start laughing. But it turned out, I started to notice that I could see how it could pull people in. And I remember being in high school, and I was at a party one night, a little get-together, and this guy was like, hey, man, we're going to go around back. I'm like, okay, what you crazy boys doing? So go around back now. They're back there smoking pot. And they're like, they want me to smoke pot. And again, I'm not anti-marijuana. I think the new cannabis industry for medical purposes that are helping people, because me personally, I think these pharmaceutical industries are terrible. They're doing a terrible number. I mean, you hear these people, they say they're taking medicine for some type of condition, and it's ruining their organs and things. And I'm like, big problem, but if they can offset it with some type of natural remedy, I'm all for that.
I'm totally with you on that.
Yeah, but back to the story, I was in high school, and I was at a party, and these guys were like, they wanted me to smoke, and I finally said, Rodney, not to say anybody's dumb, but I was like, Rodney, you're the smartest dude in the pack around here. And I said, okay. So these guys are pushing, but come on, man, you need to smoke. And I said, man, you guys aren't high. Hey, what are you talking about? I said, man, you guys are high. I said, you know what? I said, when I go to get high, I said, I'm going to shoot up heroin. And they were like, no, man, that's too high. I said, no, man. I said, I want to get that high. No, Rippy, you don't want to get that high. Just smoke a little weed. I said, I don't want to smoke a little weed. I said, remember the videos that we watched at school? Remember that dude on the building? He was flying. I said, that's how high I want to be. And they were like, no, you don't want to be that high. I'm like, yes, I want to be that. And finally, this guy stepped up and goes, hey, leave Rippy alone. Did you not hear what he just said? Because they started listening. And they were like, leave Rippy alone. Hey, Rippy, you don't have to smoke. You don't have to smoke. They were like, Rippy's crazy enough to go out and get on drugs, and it'll be our fault. Hey, Rippy, never mind. Anyway, nice. So I was like okay. Guys. So you got to use reverse psychology. Yes. You got to use everything. And what kids and youth and people and adults, you've got to use your mind to avoid the snares that life will throw on you. Life is full of temptation.
That's right.
Opportunities. There's all kind of stuff. Yeah. And matter of fact, another thing that's forthcoming is my autobiography. Ooh. So I'm really wanting to work on my autobiography.
What's the date for it? I'm asking people dates because I'm giving myself a date now too. Nice. I've been talking about this for how many years? I mean, way too many years. So I decided that it was 2 years ago, so I'm going to tell you my date and tell everybody too, because this is something that I just actually came up with last 2 days. So because I competed 2 years ago and I'm now moved into martial arts and doing stunts and action acting, I'm going to write my book and have it done by December 12th, because that was my competition date of 2018. So I have to do it.
Okay.
And I'm going to say it's going to be done before then, but I'm not going to tell you the name of the book, but it's my autobiography as well, and it's going to be going to be good. It's going to be interesting. I've been writing a lot lately.
Good.
And I feel, I've actually been really motivated by a lot of different people and people that I just met. There's a woman named Amberly, and we went to her book signing, Lago, and an amazing woman. She went through a really big tragedy and in a car accident, motorcycle accident, actually. And then another gentleman, Thomas, and they both wrote books. And Thomas wrote 2 books. So they have motivated me to write my book. So thank you guys. So
awesome.
You got to pick a date.
Well, I have my birthday, which is July 29th.
Okay. Are you a Leo?
I'm a Leo. Heck yeah. I'm a Leo in the house. Leo. That's right. You're a Leo.
Yeah, of course I am.
Kitty.
That's why.
Big kitty in the house.
Yeah.
Big kitty in the house. So the deal is I had wanted to launch it for my birthday, but some things have kind of slowed me up. But I think sometime 2019 I'm gonna drop a big one. It's gonna be incredible. This book is going to be everything I want it to be.
I love it. Well, I'm going to challenge you because I know that you're forward thinking and I love putting intention into things. So let's pick a date for you because 2019 is 2019. That's 12 months. You got to pick a date. He's going to think about this for a minute. Rodney's going to think about it for a minute. And I want to announce too, May 20th, there's a I Fight for My Life workshop and we're doing it for self-defense. And it's actually, you can sign up through Pierce College and we're having it at the House of Champions with Spice Williams Crosby and Jennifer Silverstein, my senseis, and I love them. We also, they're going to be giving away the kitty keychains. It's a self-defense keychain. Yes, feel that. I mean,
I was looking at that.
You do not want to mess with any woman that has a kitty keychain. So phenomenal event that these women are putting on, and I'm going to be part of it as well. Working with a lot of the women in there, and I'm big on promoting self-defense and being able to protect yourself not only for women, but also for men as well. So this is something that I've been working on. And then my second book, that'll be a cookbook. My third book will be about self-defense and self-confidence and for women. So it'd be like kind of a dummies for self-defense for women, newbies. So, because I just absolutely love it. And it's given me that new sense of freedom and just taking your power back, especially after some trauma and, certain circumstances that a lot of us women may go through.
Right.
So, I don't know. I hope that gave you enough time to think about your book date.
Hey, it has, and I'm a big fan of my birthday in July. I like July.
Okay.
July's a good time.
So is it going to be July 29th?
You know what? I'd like to give myself a birthday gift, and I might push it up. But I like to say, target date, July 29th.
Nice. Do you have a title for your book?
I do, but
you can't tell us because then you'd have to kill us. I get it.
I can't tell you just yet, but I've got it. I've got it.
Nice. Well, after you read the book in 2019, we're going to have you back on the show. Maybe we'll have you on my birthday, which is August 5th. So a couple days later.
Party.
Yes. Yeah, we usually do a party. Dan says he's not getting me a cake this year. I don't know why, but no cake this year.
Hit Dan with the cake.
No cake this year. So what other project will you be working on so that we can follow up with you?
Actually, I have a dear, her name is Tatiana Davido, and she's my publicist, and so she's working, and there is a consensus of people that are working to get me a star on the Walk of Fame.
Oh, that's right. I read that. So how do we sign up? Because I know that they were, was it voting in?
Yeah, it's like a nomination type of thing. I don't know. I can't be involved with it at all. So it's like, I'm like, okay, if you guys
tell
want
us
to
how we can. Because we want to, we need to get you on the Walk of Fame.
And again, this is one thing I was telling some friends of mine, some people I was talking to the other night. I said, this is really not about me. It's not about the star itself, about me. It's about everybody in the camp, all the people who have been a part of my life that have built me up. I want them to be with me in the spotlight that day. So when people say, hey, and those are brands like Mattel Toy. That's like the Chevrolet Corporation.
Yeah.
I can go down a list of people, Granola Bar. I can go down. All of these are different commercials and different people that I've worked with. And this is for them. It's for the little people. It's for that person that dares to dream. That's what it's all about. Because, and again, like I said, I don't see myself as this big iconic person. It's just been work for me. It's been a job.
You're the true definition of humility. I love that. I love it because I see, how you care for the people that have been behind you. And I feel your mom's present. I know she's with you at all times. And I want to see that. I want to see the doll that you had. I know it said about 6 or 7 things. The wind-up doesn't work anymore.
Exactly.
But I saw that. So that's amazing. When did they come up with that doll?
That was back in 74.
Oh, my goodness.
74, 75. And that was a Mattel toy. I want to do a re-release of the doll. I want to re-release my album. Matter of fact, I'm the youngest person to ever chart on Billboard.
What was the name of the album?
Take Life a Little Easier.
Okay.
And that is honestly my motto for my life. Take life a little easier. And I think about take life a little easier on me, on other people, on the situation. Yeah. Take life a little easier.
Yeah.
Bring the stress level down. I'm one of the first people to say, I'm sorry. Okay, I screwed up. If I screwed up, I want to be the first one to say, and a lot of times you see things that happen with people and they let things just foster and grow and grow and they won't say I'm sorry. Yeah. And sometimes you just got to just let it ride. And I believe that's
absolutely
the best way to do it.
Pick your battles. And that's why you're so calm and you're humble and you have humility. It's been such a pleasure having you here today.
It's been an honor.
My fellow Leo here today, Rodney Allen. Where do we find you on social media?
You can find me. I'm at Rodney Allen Rippey Official on Facebook. Yep. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on LinkedIn. I'm all over the place. Say hi. Say hi.
Yes. Yeah. And we're going to vote him in for a star on the Walk of Fame because he definitely deserves it. I look forward to seeing that new doll, the new version, the album, the book, the next book, and so much more to come. It's been such a pleasure again. We're sending you home with a little bit of SWAT fuel, so I'll give you a little energy and Quest Nutrition. And so it's always yummy stuff. So you got this and that. So you get to take that with you. Nice. Thank you so much for being here. We're here every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on the Hollywood Vibes Sports and Life Show. And make sure you sign up for the self-defense class. You can also find details on my Facebook. So thanks again, and we'll see you next week. Thanks, Rodney.
Thanks.
I love it.